So it's your first time moderating? I'm moderating one tomorrow. So. I've moderated in the past. I much prefer anyway. So.
I'll let you know about that.
Yeah, no, it's just, it is stressful, because you always bring up questions. That's always my thing. Right, yeah, that saved me more than once. Love it.
All right, it's officially 5:30. So are we ready to go? Yeah.
You have to shift down one seat each.
Yeah, we can do that.
Can't move now.
We'll do whatever you tell us to do. Maybe. Actually, I should actually edit that. Let me edit that. Maybe not everything.
Charles is such a taskmaster.
Put that down at the end, I guess. Is this better? Cool. Okay.
Oh no, such a divide.
Now I'm away from them though.
You're so
All right, so welcome everybody. We are going to be talking about being an author online and putting up boundaries, burnout, all that jazz. Let's start with introductions first though. So first things first, I'm our moderator for today. My name is Jess. I go by Jess L.M. Anderson for my writing. You can find me online as Stress in a Box. I started off as a content creator in the animal community, and now I'm an indie published fantasy author. So it's been quite a curve, quite a change. But that's me.
Hi, I'm Casey D, and I write and draw a webcomic called B-Side You, and it's starting to adapt itself into a printed version, so hopefully I meet the book requirements for this panel. But yeah.
I'm Bob Magoo. I'm best known as the author of the Jubal County Saga, which is about a redneck wizard with a crippling meth addiction. And I do teach a lot of workshops, mentor a lot of authors, and unfortunately have to do social media. So
Sorry, I'm really sorry.
Yeah, social media is just I think a part of being an author at this point, unfortunately. Which that takes us into my first question I have for all of us is, what was your first experience realizing that being an author meant also being a public figure online?
Oh no.
Or in your case, a web comic. You tell stories, you're an author.
I do. So I kind of came into the internet around the early 2000s, and I was, a teen, so I, kind of just rode that sort of wave at the time. And actually, my relationship with social media has changed a lot over the years, and now I actively avoid it unless it is talking about my work at this point.
So, without going deep in the weeds on my journey, I started out trying to get traditionally published. I actually did sign a small deal with a with a micro press, and it went terribly. But after that went south, I still tried to go the trad publishing route. And the common advice then and still now is essentially if an agent is considering your book and another book and they like them equally, and you have no social media and they have a thriving social media, they're absolutely going to sign the person with the good social media. If that's the deal breaker, because unfortunately, trad publishing, unless you're very lucky, they're not going to do any marketing for you. You are going to have to handle all your own marketing, and that goes doubly so if you're going indie, which is primarily what I do now. I'm mixing indie and trad. I have a book coming out with Falstaff soon, but So once I realized that, I started poorly, very poorly, trying to build a social media presence. So,
All right. For me, it was kind of when I realized if I stopped posting, sales didn't happen anymore. That was where I was at. But I started off with a large following before I got into publishing. I was very lucky for that. I had people reaching out to me wanting to publish my books, but I was like, I'm going to go indie instead. But it was, when I realized if I don't post about my books, people don't know they exist, was when I kind of realized, oh, I actually have to be the face of my novels.
I think that's something that you don't realize is when you're in the trenches living it, it never occurs to you that there are people that follow you that actually have no idea what it is you're really doing.
Yeah.
And that's shockingly common. And I mean, I have people in my life, like very, very much in my life, that will occasionally say something along the lines of, "Oh, are you still doing the book thing?" Like, yes, I am. So yeah, it can be a little disconcerting.
Yeah, I mean, I published my first book 4 years ago, and I still have 4.5 at this point, and I still have people go, "You wrote a book?" Oh yeah, I've actually written 4 and a kid's book, and I have a 5th book coming out soon. But you had said something that I thought was really interesting. Is actually on my list. Is how has your relationship with social media changed since you started?
Yeah. Yeah. It's terrifying now, to put it bluntly. I used to be really avid online. I kind of started off in DeviantArt, kind of in the early mid-2000s. And then we kind of all migrated over to Twitter, and that kind of became the art hub and the kind of the comic place, and people were getting jobs through Twitter. And then Twitter happened. It came under the control of someone who did not care about any of that.
R.I.P. real Twitter.
Yeah, we miss you. And just kind of some other stuff kind of during the pandemic. It was just kind of like, there was just a lot of evidence that when you're not face to face with somebody and you have the internet as that method of removal, you're not going to have a face-to-face type of interaction. You might be a little more cruel. You might be a little more accusatory because you don't have that connection to that person. This is just a name on the internet at that point. So, yeah, my relationship with social media has changed a lot, and I'm terrified of it. I don't know how you guys feel.
I've almost always hated social media. And I still hate it. That said, what's changed for me was early on, most of my social media, there was like open facing with a lot of, here's my word count, here's a screenshot of my computer screen. Man, do people not care. And it's also just a terrible visual. But what I've learned over time is the kind of people who are like your true fans, you're really trying to reach, they're not following your social media, they're not subscribing to your newsletter, they're not going to your website because they want to know when the next book is coming out. They will find, like, they really like your stuff, they're going to find that out. They are following you on social media or your newsletter because they're interested in you as a person. I tell people all the time, the point of social media is to get them onto your turf. Right? You never know when a narcissistic billionaire is going to ruin a social media platform. And so if your business is built around Twitter in that example, or so many artists lost their livelihood in Tumblr, changed the rules on adult content, Facebook, there were businesses that went under because they had built their entire everything around a Facebook page. And then Facebook changed the algorithm where they throttled page views in favor of groups. And they didn't have groups established, they went under. So you never know when your favorite social media platform is going to change the rules. Get them onto your turn. And so because of that, like people are always like, well, I'm just not interested enough for newsletter. My book's not out yet. You're a human being. I promise you're interested enough for newsletter. You're not going to someone out there for you. You don't have to do a social media post every day. But you have interests. I am a big child and I love Lego. I don't care what you think. And so I will occasionally make a scene for my books out of logos and post it on social media.
That's cool.
Right? I'm very bad at it. But also, if
But
I'm
you tried, that's
right,
right.
that's half the battle. But like I went on vacation and I took a Lego set with me and I built a hedgehog. And I post about it on social media because people who follow me are hopefully genuinely interested in what I do. So was that book related? No, but it gives readers a little bit of insight into me. And it made a cool visual. It's hard to do visuals as an author a lot of times. So
I think that's a very good point because I also, for my social media, I do a lot of artwork. I work with like insects, so like taxidermy type of stuff, and I actually found a way to integrate my books into that. So I actually am able to talk about my books while doing something else that's visually interesting to other people. They love watching me pin and spread butterflies and beetles, and I'm able to talk about my books in that context. So that's a very interesting thing to bring up, and also along the lines of I always tell people when they want advice on social media, be authentic. It doesn't have to be all about the one specific thing you're doing. A lot of times people are following you for your personality, for your interests. So a lot of my stuff is DIY. I did a video for one of my costumes for DragonCon that people watched and really loved. It had nothing to do with my series. I was like, hey, I'm going to DragonCon because I'm an author. Here's this cool thing I'm doing. So yeah, it was very, very good point. Like, find other ways to kind of incorporate it. What's an artwork?
I mean, I have the visual.
Yeah.
You know, just
so
yeah. You know, names also really work. Like making names of your own comic characters can be very, very successful. Even just the visuals. A lot of the times you get like screen caps from my comic. Just you know, there's a little caption underneath it. Or something. So yeah, it's more, it's a little more than as much as that.
I think this kind of segues into what we were just talking about. A little bit more on the boundaries part is how do you decide what parts of the personal life to share versus what's too private? You look nervous.
So for me, when I started this journey, I was a portly single lad. And so I did, and frankly, I like very privileged. I'm a vaguely scary looking white dude. The world was built in my favor, and so I didn't have to worry much about my social media presence. You know, like I didn't have to worry that I would have a bunch of creepy dudes in my inbox all the time. So I'm lucky that I was able to kind of share a little bit more about myself safely. But as time has gone on, I'm now a portly married dude with a young kiddo, and so I'm very, very careful about revealing. I do occasionally will share a picture of the lady wife, as I call her, but I never refer to her by name on there. I don't want people like if you meet me and you meet my wife, I will introduce you. She's amazing. She's my far better half. But I don't necessarily need the world knowing her by name, you know. And then my kiddo, I think I've only ever done one photo that had her in on my social media, and I obscured her face. She helped on a photo shoot. She was the gear person for our author photo shoots, and so it was a cute visual. So that is something I'm very cognitive of. Is at this point it's not just me. There are my actions can have life altering impact on family members. You know, so I have to be very careful in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend who had her own 2 kids recently, and she's like, I really want to share photos of my kids with a few people. I do not want to post them online. Luckily, she was able to find a service called Tiny Beans that allowed, it basically made a little newsletter. She got to, you know, coordinate the list of people she wanted to see the baby pictures. And I think events like that are so important, you know, when you do want to, you know, look out for someone who may not be able to say, yes, you can put my kid on.
She would love it. She would absolutely love it. She went to school like, my dad is a YouTuber, and all her whole friends were so impressed. Like, child, I have like 6 subscribers.
See, I had the realization for me was when I moved down to Georgia. I lived in Chicago for about 10 years, and I moved down to Georgia, and I went into a pet store there. And somebody went, "I know where you live." Because they had seen my house in the background of a video, and I was like, "This is wildly uncomfortable."
No, I hate that.
And note for everybody out there: do not do that to somebody you follow on social media. We get extremely uncomfortable. I do live in a house that is very prominent in the town I live in now, but I'm just like, maybe we should not have opened up the conversation with you know where I live. Like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. I didn't really like going to the pet store anymore after that. But that was definitely, I wish I would have been a little bit more protective, like you're seeming you have.
You may not know this, if you're doing a newsletter, you have to provide an address or a physical address. And so again, when I started, scary kind of biker looking dude, I didn't really care that people had my home address in my newsletter. But then when I moved in with the lady wife, and we were heading towards marriage, I went out and got a PO box. So I could,
That's what I did.
and now I will. You want to know my PO box? PO Box 1383, Millbrook, Alabama. Go nuts, mail me stuff. I'll get postcard. But that's not my house.
Yeah.
So.
Sometimes I look back at my old videos on social media and I'm like, why did I share that information? Why did I stand there and have that in the background? You learn a lot as you go, I think. And I definitely sometimes go back and I'm like, I'm going to private that video because I don't want someone to figure out.
If you think about it, though, you're of a generation that we didn't really have examples to follow.
Yeah.
My kiddo will come up in a world where it would be much more on her mind of, I don't need to have my house in the background. But me, I'm just like, oh, look at me and my cat. And oh, look at my house. And it never would have occurred to me that, oh, hey, this bad that I didn't have, that was not bothered.
Because I blew up in like the height of the pandemic initially. So on TikTok of all things. So it's like there wasn't really any rules or thoughts or really, you kind of just posted every little thought you had at the time because the algorithm favored the more videos you posted. And I think that was probably, I overshared way too much.
Well, does anyone, this might just be me, but in the really, really, really basic internet, I remember all of these like PSAs coming out and all of these like, don't tell anyone where you live, the creepers are in the chat room, et cetera. And then I think we did get to a point where, yeah, we were sharing a lot. And and then now I kind of think that there's been a lot of kind of scary stuff, especially for authors.
Yeah.
Getting doxxed, whether they deserve that or not. And I think that's making people kind of take a step back and go, okay, a lot of people are on the internet a lot of the time, and some of them don't have anything better to do than, run around and make friends with people.
I wish I had that reason.
So I guess when we're talking about authenticity online versus protecting yourself, you kind of touched on some of the stuff that you do. Is there anything like additionally that how do you balance it?
I will say when it comes to authenticity, I don't come across. I'm highly introverted. I put on a mask for this and for social media. And to be clear, what you're getting is basically day-to-day Bob when he's around his friends, just slightly amped up to 11. Just a little nudge more. And so you're getting authentic me, but also I have a slight disconnect that I can kind of put on. It makes me more comfortable on there because it's really hard to put yourself out there. It just is. And it took me a long time to get to where I could consistently post myself and post, bits about my life. It took me a long time to realize that, some people do actually care what you're getting up to, And so by putting on that mask and having a little bit of, okay, you're still getting Bob, but it's not, if you were in the house right now, exactly what you'd be getting, it helps. It helps me. But no, I still blunder around like an idiot on social media. I probably do so many things that, and I'm working on IT. I think I know better. I probably do so many things that someone will come in like, "You do what now? Stop! That's not safe." But again, that's just, unfortunately that's my friend show.
What about you, Casey?
So what I really like to do nowadays is compartmentalize what I share on social media versus what I can go into my little Discord group and share with my friends. When I'm posting things, I really have to take a minute and say, does everyone need to know this, or can I just tell my friends? And I really have to kind of like just overthink how is this going to be received by the general public versus is this just an inside joke I should and more often than not, 90% of the things I try to post on this guy end but
Yeah, we're good.
I'm up here being like, don't do social media, it's a bad place, everyone's gonna kill you.
I think it's like I said earlier, it's been a lot of learning as I go. I do think it is very important to be authentic online and be your authentic self. I also put on a little bit of a persona. I have been told my persona is very similar to me in a day-to-day life, though, which is awesome. I love hearing that from my friends. But it is definitely amped up a little bit, just like you had said. And I think it is kind of the authenticity versus self-protection, protecting your own kind of boundaries. I think it definitely comes up to I don't want to say telling your followers what the boundaries are, but I definitely have had to do that, especially since I came from animal content creating to indie fantasy writing. I've had to say, hey, my animal's not your animals. I know y'all want to know about all my animals. They're still alive, but like I don't want to post it because they're mine now. And just kind of being very blunt with that. You did talk about having a Discord server. I also have a Discord server. And how do you feel like community-wise? Do you feel like that's almost like a better way to connect you with your community as opposed to other social media platforms?
I think so. With Discord, you kind of know who's coming in. Like I keep a little bit more track of Discord rather than followers on Blue Sky. If somebody followed me on Blue Sky, I might check their profile out, or I might just say like, "Oh, cool," like, and then put my comment out. But Discord is much more intimate, I would say, and it's much more. It's more controlled in a way.
Yes, I would generally agree. I'm just really awful. Like I have people join my Discord. And is there any vetting? No, they join. Please come. But I also, like I said, I'm doing a lot of mentoring, and I'm really big on transparency. So I do a lot in that kind of space, around like numbers, around social media and sales, things like that. And so it's pretty common for me for like folks that I've never talked to join the Discord. But it is definitely. My Discord is not big at all. It's like 65 people right now, I think. But it is very much a community. I invite in a lot of authors. I'll let some authors have their own channels in there for their fans, things like that.
That's cool.
And so trying to build, friends and tight lists, all those. And so, and it's a lot of us authors like kind of keep each other, on task a little bit. Like I started a early morning writers channel on there for those of us. I get up at 4:30 and so kind of for accountability. Yeah, no, it's not great. I hate it.
That sounds terrible. But continue.
It is. But accountability for that. But like, there are so many people like that I have never met, but they are absolutely some of my closest friends. And a large part of that has come from Discord. Until I started the Discord, yes, we were friends on social media, but it's not like we communicated that often. A like here, a like there. I share her post, she shared mine, whatever. But once they were in the Discord, it was much more of a conversation and hanging out.
That's how I feel too. It's I have a Discord with my readers, and we'll like do book clubs together. We watched all the Hunger Games movies a couple months ago. I was supposed to be reading Twilight with them. I couldn't do it. I read the first chapter and went, "How did I read this in high school?" But I'm gonna watch Twilight with them. No worry. So I think Discord's really good for community building on a deeper level. And I think on the topic of communities, do you think certain genres or readership communities demand more online presence than others? I stumped them, guys.
I think everything's, it's, I don't know about genres. What I will say, kind of touching on the topic of Discord, and our topic being burnout. Discord is much better for community building, but it's also so much more work. And I put so much more of myself into there that when I'm getting burnout, the first thing that I would quit responding to is Discord.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm the same way.
Yeah, it's because, and I get in these doom spirals of pressure. It's like, oh my god, I gotta say something in there. Then I stress myself, I haven't, and then this toxic doom spiral. And then eventually, it's just hit a critical mass, and I'll get oil change, and I'm just sitting there, nothing to do for premise. Let me get caught up on Discord, and then it's like the dam is broke, and I'm back to normal. But for me, it is. I simultaneously enjoy it the most and hate it the most. I get the most value out of it, but also the most stress.
That's how I feel about it.
Sorry, I'll just quickly add. I think the other thing I like about Discord and now about Blue Sky is that there is no algorithm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily have to worry about posting a lot because, like, there's no hierarchy. You can read in chronological order. I don't know why this is such a hard problem and why they think it needs to go away. It's great.
Also, there's no ads, which makes it even better.
I'm dreading the day that Blue Sky becomes less good than it currently is. So let everybody just live in the view of
Yeah, I definitely think I do the same. You can tell when I'm like in a burnout session when I stop responding to my readers on Discord, because I always joke that like my Discord where you have 24/7 access to the author. If I'm awake, I'll probably respond. But yeah, you can tell either I'm very busy, like this weekend, the last 2 days I haven't really been on my Discord server, or I am heavily burnt out and I just can't people anymore. Is what Discord starts. That's the first brick to fall, and then it's like,
But if you've done a good job building community, they're going to carry on without you.
oh yeah, they entertain
Yeah,
themselves.
and that is why I still, even though I get through doom spiral, why I still keep doing this. Is because I've got to a point now where there's enough people that they're gonna talk amongst themselves.
We're reading Twilight without me.
They
They're
don't
fine.
need me. They don't need me.
You
So,
guys get intimidated when you go to a Discord channel and there's like 100 plus messages.
Yes.
You just like, does your brain shut down?
Sometimes I wake up to that in my own server, and I'm like, what did you guys do?
What happened?
What did I
Made
do?
a thing.
it always baffles me. It's like y'all are here because of something I did, and y'all are like
Yes.
making use of it. Like it still feels weird to me sometimes. Like y'all, like I was gone on vacation. I came back, and y'all just like I missed like 200 messages. Like,
I think that's when you know you have a really good community, is when they can entertain themselves, when you need a break. On top of burnout, what are some of the early warning signs that you're tempted for this? Besides Discord dropping, but
Sure. Well, I can say from personal experience, I am in burnout right now with my webcomic. I finished chapter 7 end of April, and I was like, okay, this is great. I'll take 2 weeks off and run back into chapter 8. Haven't finished thumbnailing chapter 8. It was an accidental multi-month hiatus. I had never experienced this before because I've been working on this comic for 8 years at this point, and it takes a lot of investment, emotional investment to make yourself through these long of comic. And I had that investment, and the investment has carried me through periods of time where I got physically burned out, where I got myself injured because I was working on it so intensely. And I finally got to experience like the mental burnout of there is this vacuous timeline of this really, really long form comic. I don't know when it's gonna end. I know how it's gonna end. I know it is going to end. I don't know when. I don't know how many years of my life I am going to be making this. And I think that all just kind of hit me, and I just like I need a break. So I would say procrastination is a big warning sign for me. That's a big red flag.
For me, it's ignoring my phone.
Now,
Really, it's
I
like
wish I could have.
when I see, I just hate hearing my phone. My phone is potentially on silent. Not even on vibrate. I don't want to know that it's doing things. But then when I look down and I see I've got 40 notifications across things, and I hit that and it's like I can't do this, and then I just start ignoring my phone. And then text messages from moms and brothers and like getting more and more insistent, and eventually I will. Okay, I've had my breather. All right, let me tackle this backlog. But when I started like actively ignoring my phone, that's when I know burnout is underway.
Mine's gonna be when doing what I love starts to feel like work.
Yeah.
That's when I know it's starting to start. I'm like, oh, there's gonna give me about 2 weeks, and I'm just gonna sit and stare at a wall after work all day and get nothing done, which is what you don't want to get. You don't want to get there. Can you share a time when burnout affected your creativity, your artwork? Or I think you did a little bit.
Yeah.
A writing process and how you recovered from it.
So something I did actually right before DragonCon is I went and I caught up on all of the comments that people have done on comment pages for the past few months. And I cannot tell you how happy that made me. Like, reminding yourself of like why you're doing it. And oftentimes I'll go back and I'll read the pages I've done. I will read my scripts of the pages that I have yet to do, and that just reminds me like, oh yeah, I do love this thing that I made, and the only way it's gonna get made is if I make it.
This year has been a real struggle. I did. I handled the business side of things very well for most of the year, but I really struggled on getting work on paper. I got a promotion at work, so the mother of all first world problems, like more money, more problems. So that upped my stress level, and I just wasn't creating. I was not putting words on paper. So that's why I write at 4:30. I get up at 4:30 because no one in my family is awake at that point. I know I can write from scratch free for at least an hour, only an hour and a half. And that has helped me break through, break through that. Um, that's what I had to do. And it's miserable. I will say I'm very transparent that I've struggled with depression most of my adult life. And occasionally that flares up. Imposter syndrome is real. Every author I know, no matter, and I've kind of listed fairly good names, they all attest that imposter syndrome never goes away. And whenever I start feeling that intensely, they tell you to not read your reviews. Whoever gave that advice is far less neurotic than I am. And so I read them constantly. I'm always checking to see when I have new reviews come in. I got to know how to mess them up. But I have a file where I've taken like the reviews that have made me feel the best, and I have them in there. And so when I'm feeling really down, like what am I even doing here? I can go read through that and be like, okay, all right, you're not the hack that you think you are. People do actually like what you do. So
I think that's very interesting that sometimes you just gotta go and be reminded. I mean, I also read my reviews, and there are times when I feel really bummed out, and I'm like, I'm gonna go read all the 5 stars, see what those say. Ignore the 2 stars. I want to see the 5 stars. And that does really help. I'm in a very lucky place where I have an established readership, and sometimes I need to be like, guys, I need you to remind me what I'm doing. And they will, and they understand. Because we have that community, they get that. Like sometimes you just feel like giving up, and you still got to keep going. As far as like recovering, I found sometimes you just got to step back from it all too.
Yeah.
It's and don't feel less about yourself when you do it. It's taking a step back from your biggest passion in life is sometimes what you have to do to try and recover some mental strength. And Don't feel bad if you didn't write your X amount of words that week. Don't feel bad if you didn't post X amount of posts that week. There's times I'll go like a month and I won't post anything because I'm so exhausted.
Yeah, and there's other things in your life that can affect your creativity.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I mean, I did a workshop earlier today, and she's like, "How do you do it all? You're doing all the marketing, you're doing all the writing, you're overseeing the artwork, the audiobooks. Like, how do you?" It's a lot, and be forgiving with yourself is what you got to do.
Yeah, I routinely have people say that they see like I do multiple podcasts. I design games, I'm freelance writing, yada yada yada. I write books, and I routinely have people like, "How do you do all that?" It's like, I don't do it all at once. I work on things for a time, then I move on, work on other things. Like you don't have to do everything all the time. Just give yourself some grace.
Mm-hmm. Now, before I want to open it up for questions for you guys, but before we do that, one final question for us up here, from me anyway. What misconceptions might your readers or followers have about you as the author creator being accessible online?
I have been described by one of my friends as cool and aloof, and I really try and embody the aloof. No, but I do think I have a lot of hang-ups about people being accessible all the time. I think more often than not that leads to really bad things. Like if someone doesn't respond to you right away, that doesn't mean they're mad at you or you said something wrong. It means they're probably doing something and they're probably busy. And I think reinforcing this idea of I text you quietly 2 seconds back, I think that's kind of harmful in the long run. And I think at the end of the day, it's like no one owes you a response on social media. I'm sure we all appreciate like the comments that we get, but at the end of the day, it's like I might forget to respond to you. That doesn't mean
Just a person.
I'm just a person. I'm doing my best.
I think in my case, it's my dad. We have a saying. He referenced Alabama football all the time. It was act like you've been there before. And he hated when people showboated in the end zone. Act like you've scored a touchdown before. I advocate for that to people all the time. Fake it till you make it. Act like you've been there before. And so I've had a number of people over the years tell me that they didn't feel like they could approach me like, guys, I'm not a big name. I'm really not. I promise you, I do not make that much money doing this. But I have people that are like, well, it's just, I kind of felt like you were a bigger deal than you are. And that's not how they put it, but essentially what they were saying is like, oh no. I'm not. I ain't special. I promise you that. So if you get me, you will get me. I don't have a personal assistant, nothing like that. And I like to be very helpful. Please reach out to me. I promise you I will respond. It may take me a little bit, but I promise you I will respond if you reach out to my contact form. Like I love to meet people, I love to help. And sometimes people don't do that because they think, because they see me like I was self-handled with Matt Dinneman. I promise you, I am so far from Matt Dinneman in sales that we're not even on the same planet. So just because I was sitting next to him does not mean I'm, I just got real lucky. And Charles Paul.
All right, let's see. We have a question over here. I think there's a mic because I think they're streaming it, right? Are you streaming it? Yeah. So if you could ask them a mic, that would be awesome. So anybody online can hear you.
Really question.
Okay.
I just want to add to being accessible online because I have a past, especially the one with owners like formatting and they start business. So they will respond during this time to let people know. So you can email them a message.
With big brand energy.
Unless it's like
Also say she's a good girl.
that is actually very smart.
Yeah.
Yes.
How are y'all doing? Can anybody hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
So I'm a fairly new author. I've published 2 books.
Wow.
I have had something like this.
Go.
I had a screenwriter who she wrote for True Detective, and she's currently writing for Dark Winds. So I'll watch that. She reached out to me. Disney Blind Luck, she stumbled on an AMA I did on Reddit, and like the premise, she reached out and said, "Hey, would you be interested in me like pitching this? I love the idea." And I'm like, "Sure, yeah," because I have so many screenwriters knocking down my door. And this is one of those, after you've been there before, like she sends this message, and I'm like, ah! Well, I'm like, yeah, I think we can talk. And so we set up meetings, and she's actually working it through Hollywood as we speak. What I would say is it's fine-ish to talk, but at some point, pretty soon, you're going to need a lawyer.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, like
Don't give them anything until you've seen a contract.
yeah, and I'll say like for kind of the industry norm is typically what you do is you sign a deal where they get to pitch it for about a year, and then if they haven't got an option by then, the kind of industry standard is you have the option to do like a 6-month renewal. With my person, I told her like I don't fundamentally care because I don't have other like I'm Bob in South Alabama. There are no other screenwriters knocking down my door. So we just worked out like, look, I genuinely I love everything about her. I don't want us to have a lifelong partnership together. And so I told her like, look, I'm in it for the long haul. You can until its option is made, you're my person. So yeah, but you need to be careful and talk to them.
Yes. Agreed. Next one. 11.
I'd love to know all of your I'd love to know all of your thoughts on communicating burnout coming up, your dynamic, how you handle the pressure to continue to deliver things while still setting healthy boundaries and manage that. You straight up and right.
Yeah.
So recently when I got into my burnout, I got ambitious and I thought, okay, for my Patreon, which I upload pages every week, I'll upload other things. I'll upload kind of bonus content that I have. And I did that for 1 week, and then I quickly realized, like, oh no, I can't do that. My real life is about to explode, and I swear I'm so sorry. Life found a way. And luckily, people have been, and people on Patreon especially, because like they're the people that have fully invested in you. And I think a couple people do this, but you don't treat Patreon like a transactional sort of thing. That's ideally you don't treat it like a transactional thing. You treat it like people are supporting you and who you tip for basically. So luckily people have been really cool about it and just been like, hey, we understand, we'll be here when you get back. And then it's been very moving to experience that.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever been a time where I haven't been accessible in some way, shape, or form on some platform. So you see I haven't posted in 3 months on TikTok. Well, you can go to the link in my bio and see, oh, she's posted on Facebook, she's posted on Threads, she's posted on Instagram. I'm very active on other platforms, especially ones where I don't have to post pictures or videos. But I would say there's never a time where there's not at least this one platform where you can ask a question. Or even on my TikTok, even if I'm not posting because I don't have the energy to do short form content, if you comment saying, hey, you good? I usually reply. I'll reply in some form. But one thing that I've done is I never actually give any deadlines on projects until it's done. So then they're not sitting there expecting something from me until I know it's gonna come out. So like, my last book that came out, everybody was anticipating it. I did have some burnout that happened during the process of writing that book. And I had a lot of writer's block and a lot of issues with that. And I was very communicative, especially in my Discord server, that there was a lot of bumps in the road. But I didn't announce the next book was coming out until 3 months before it did. And everybody was super excited. I had everything lined up from pre-order packages to release dates and all that. And so I just try not to commit to any big projects until I know I can deliver it in that time frame.
Yeah, manage expectations. Now granted, I'm from Alabama, no one has great expectations from me, so I benefit there. But like even with my Patreon, when I started my Patreon, I would make all these promises, like we're gonna get a short story every month. And the moment I said that, I would immediately crumple under the pressure. And so now, my Patreon, $2. You get what you get. And because of that, I actually typically post something every week. Chapter excerpts, blog posts, stuff like that. Like you typically get content, but because I've told people you're going to get what you're going to get, there are no promises. This is what we're working on.
Yeah.
And everyone's been very cool. Since I've done that, I've gotten much better about my Patreon. But I have a couple times gone maybe like a month without posting anything, because I have anything that's very good to post, and no one is, unsubscribed. So people are normally pretty chill, especially like at that level. When someone signs into your Patreon, I'm not fault friend. All right, I recommend really good books. No one is like he's the literary, rebirth of human book. So people enjoy my books, but they're not signing on because my books are amazing. At the Patreon level, most of them are like, Bob's a pretty cool dude. You know what? He's worth $2. And most months, I kind of love it. Mine's got a little bit of well, you're dressed well for it.
You are.
So, I think that my secretary, like, really makes this when you come to the best, so this is advice I got at the time, games, burnout, life, overthinking, and self-doubt, and, confidence, another, right, things like that, me, because it's like in hydroponics supervillain concept, but it's the reader is below the item. It's basically you only really care so much before the readers even talk to you. Like when you do get advice, like put this that belong in my story, but like I can't like that story won't be great for me. So
I definitely needed context.
yeah.
But I was like, what?
Well, I only need to win anything to make like somewhat feel like I actually. Okay, I think I get where you're going in here. I would say, okay, that's not terrible advice. If that's advice that gets you
The
through.
wording is bad.
Yeah,
The wording is
yeah.
bad.
Like I said, it's
Yeah.
a super villain. So what I'll say is, I was in therapy when my first. If you were just last time, I'm sorry, I'm telling the story twice, but I was in therapy when my first book came out, and I was talking to my therapist like, I am so worried that I'm going to get when one's going to come out, I'm going to immediately get a 1-star review, and I'm just going to have a comic part. She's like, what she told me resonated with me. Reviews, comments have nothing to do with you. That has everything to do with the person who left it. You just happen to be the outlet they chose to express what's going on in their life. Has nothing to do with you. Now that said, if you leave a glowing review, that has everything to do with you, obviously. But if someone leaves a negative review, what gets me through is, okay, they're having a bad day. They just chose me to to lash out. And so, but the whole like, if you're doing a good job on marketing your book, you should be hitting the kind of people that would like your book. So I'd say the way that was phrased is a little wonky just because
Yeah.
if you're writing grimdark fantasy and grimdark fantasy readers are coming along and saying this is wrong, saying, well, you're just the reader, what do you know? Go read those books. Well, you promised them A and given them B, and now they're upset. That's a kind of a different conversation.
But then also maybe like
Yeah, if you come to find out that you thought you write a grimdark fantasy and all the grimdark readers that read it hate it, then yeah, you probably do need to sit down and think why do they hate it? And again, not to just rehash every story I told today, but when I started, I would have gun to my head, I would have told you that my target reader was a young man in his 20s when I started this. And yeah, and what I've learned is my target reader is a woman in her 30s and 40s. That is 70% of my readership.
Yeah.
And so, you never be afraid to say it.
And I think I think this is kind of more from like a critiquing kind of brain. You don't have to listen to everyone's feedback, but your readers' feedback is also important. So, and I'm going to take this to doing like alpha and beta testing. I always let a group of my readers read the book before it comes out, because there are things that it's like, oh, that's not on par with how the rest of the series is gone. You're right. I should take that out. That should be changed. But the wording for that is just, I don't like it.
It's meant to be.
It's very, because like at
Like
the
this is my story. I need to make my
yes, but at the end of the day, your readers are who make you an author. So, but yeah, I think more what that comment is coming down to is not everybody's opinions matter. Write your story, yes. You don't have to listen to everyone in the room. Listen to the feedback you feel is valid to the story you're telling.
If your writers group is composed of all romance authors and you write your dark fantasy, then they don't understand the tropes. So maybe don't take their advice as gospel. But if everyone in your writers group does write that and they're published, so you weigh a little bit of the origin of the advice.
Yeah, don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do that. Not every suggestion is the right suggestion.
All right. Yeah.
I want to tilt it down a little bit. There you go.
Thank you for being here. And I have worked in counseling, but I'm finding that now that I'm earning my scholarship in March, that people are asking for my assessments. So I'm wondering what goes into your assessment process and what platforms are going to be most beneficial for your audience, as well as how do you stay on top of the way action. Everything changes.
I would say the social media that you should do is the one you're actually going to use the most. Do not force yourself to use TikTok if you're going to. I mean, you should grab your handle just in case you decide
Yes.
you want to use it in the future, but don't force yourself through social media that isn't going to benefit you.
That's, I would say the same thing. That if you don't want to do short form videos, don't put yourself in the box where you feel like you have to. If you would rather post photos, you would rather, just post funny comments. Make sure you find that platform that works best for you, because you will find your audience on any platform. There is an audience on that platform for you, no matter how big or how small.
Yeah, it's better to not have a social media presence than to have one that you're not using. Because then when people go look, they're going to see what you fit to.
Yes.
So, mine of choice is Instagram. That may not be the best for my target demographic, but I don't care because I can post on there and it will cross post to Facebook and Threads every time. And so I got 3 social medias for the price of 1, and that's exactly what I need. So, like, I have a Blue Sky, and I got my handle. I just put on there, hey, I'm not here. If you tag me in something, I will see it, I will come, I will respond. But otherwise, here's my link tree, here's where I'm at.
Excellent. Hello. I was just wondering, how do you do that? You guys handle right? How do
Shifting on the font to Comic Sans.
you?
You know why? Because you trick yourself into not taking it seriously. You think you're writing Wattpad fan fiction instead of writing something that's going to go out to the public. This is my favorite bit of advice. I'm sorry. It tricks your brain because you don't take Comic Sans as seriously as like Times New Roman. Comic Sans.
I'm gonna
Try it. It changed my life.
I will say, what's the advice I tend to give is, every time you sit down to write, sit down in the same place. If you listen to music, play the same music every time. If you like candles, light a candle with the same scent every time. And it will take a little while. But essentially, you can Pavlov yourself, and what will happen is if you do that enough, the words will start to flow. Because your brain, I'm in this place, I smell this, I hear this, and your brain will shift gears and create. To this day, I don't have to do this often, but to this day, if I listen to Sunset Mission by Born and Before, my word count will probably be about 300 words per hour higher.
And I would also say, if you are stuck, go read some books that you love. Read things that inspire you and kind of like refill that well. Because creativity is a well. It accumulates after time. And you have to put back into it what you put out.
What it seems like is you just need to mentally trick yourself.
Yeah.
But I also say, sometimes when I hit writer's block, sometimes I take away. I know you wake up at 4:30 every morning to write, but sometimes I do have to sit there and be like, I'm not going to give myself any goals. If I just sit at my laptop all day and write one word, at least I did something. And I think that kind of goes with the don't set expectations. Don't always set them for yourself. Sometimes you're not going to hit a word count. Sometimes you're not going to want to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I don't know how you do that.
It's miserable. I hate it. This is not my advice. This is Michael Stackpole's advice. So listen to it far more than you listen to mine. But he says that anytime he's ever experienced writer's block, and I have found this to occasionally be true for me, if it's a work that you're currently working on and you suddenly develop writer's block, typically, if you will look in the last 3 pages, your character will have done something out of character for them, and it's your brain telling you you have messed up. Go fix it.
That actually sounds very accurate.
And I have had that happen.
Also, a good writing exercise is never bad. When I hit writer's block with my first book, I gave my main character a cat. The cat is now in the series forevermore, and everybody's very attached to the cat. But I gave him the cat because I was like, it'd be funny just to see what they do with it. So I rewrote what I had written with this cat now introduced, and it kind of got me out of my head and stopped taking everything so seriously because I got a cat.
Thank you so much.
All right, we are about out of time. So one more question for you guys before we do our. Oh, you go. Okay. Quick question.
Is it possible to have a successful writing career now while being largely offline versus platform non-negotiable?
Ooh.
How comfortable are you selling books in person?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Because I was just talking to someone about this before we started. I've taken my presence a lot offline. I do a lot more in-person events now. I go and I sling books at conventions, Renaissance Festival, anything like that. And sometimes that is more successful during a month than it is for me to post on social media, but your comfort level. Yeah.
It's where I make the bulk of my money. What I
Yeah.
would say is you can, if you got the money, you can hire someone to work with social media. Not naming names, because the gentleman right there, you can hire to be your personal assistant right there. And he could do that for you. You don't have to do social media, but it's why this is already so hard. Why do you want to tie one arm behind your back? We all hate it. I promise you, everyone is on with social media, but you just kind of got to do it or pay someone to do it for you.
Tip for all of you, authors that do hate social media, something you can do to help them is recommend their books
Yes.
You're much more likely to get someone to read the book if you personally recommend it to them.
Word of mouth is the best
Yes,
marketing.
Yes, help them out, please.
All right, do you have any final advice for any of our budding authors out there, or even established ones, for social media, burnout, boundaries?
Take breaks. For your heart, for your mind, and your body. Pace yourself.
Give yourself grace. It's so hard out there. It only gets harder.
Yeah, I think understand that you are only a person. You can only do so much. You're one person. Give yourself that grace. So before we end, why don't we go ahead and do a quick recap and where everybody can find you and what your books are, or your webcomics, or all that jazz.
I'm Casey. My webcomic is Beside You. It's a early 2000s gay romance. You can find it in my link tree, linktr.ee/KCB Studios. You can also find the podcast that I'm on, and more synonymous and Late Starters Pokemon TTRPG, which is going to be a panel tonight. You should come hang out with us.
You can find me pretty much anywhere. Selfbybob.com. All my social medias. I will be at some fantasy gathering tonight. Come buy some books. My next panel is actually in here tomorrow at 11:30. Podcast Networks, creating your own or joining others. I'll be moderating.
Nice. And again, I'm Jess Ellen Anderson. You can find me at Stress in a Box on pretty much any platform. And also my series is The Source Keepers. You can find information about that at thesourcekeepers.com. And I'm going to be mostly over in the Hyatt tomorrow for a lot of panels. So yeah, I'm over there like all day. All right, thank you, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Oh, if you want a sticker that says read Redneck Math Wizard books,
Oh yeah, I also have badge ribbons for my books. If anybody wants a funny quote.
you want a Wolf of Boston sticker?